You came here for a discussion of religious faith, and you wound up in a discussion of quantum physics. Welcome to the Skywatch TV studios. I'm Derek Gilbert. We're talking about the book Quantum Creation with author Josh Peck. In our last discussion, we talked about the science and the seeming incompatibility between modern scientific research and a religious worldview, specifically a Christian worldview. And yet, as you mentioned in our last discussion, for some reason, quantum physics seems to be attracting a very large following in the New Age community. Why?
Yeah, and it's been like that for about 100 years now, and it's definitely an interesting phenomenon. I think a lot of it is because the interpretations that are put on quantum physics. We have scientists that will even take an equation or look at a particle or look at things like quantum entanglement and say they'll put these really strange interpretations on it, such as, well, this proves if there is a God, he's not a personal God. It's just some force out there that we can't have any kind of interaction with. Mm-hmm. That falls right in line with New Age, which actually isn't really new at all. It falls in line with Gnosticism, and I get into a lot of that in the book too. And why? So I think that's why quantum physics is so attractive to New Age theology. There's a lot of room for interpretation, so they can easily put their own interpretation in there, and it falls right in line with what modern science is saying.
Mm. So the idea that New Agers are applying, the interpretation that they're applying to the work of quantum physicists is that somehow the action of our minds on inanimate objects can change reality. Is that correct?
Yeah, and there's even been confirmed experiments on that. Now, this is just on a quantum level. This is very, very minor changes, but it does seem like based just on the power of our minds that we're able to manipulate certain things, but it's on such a small scale. It's nowhere near where New Agers and other people like that will blow it up to. I mean, we even have like the Word Faith movement and things that, where you basically create your own reality around you.
Yeah. So we in the Christian community are not immune to this.
Exactly. And so we have all these strange doctrines coming in because of things like that. But the reality is, even if we can manipulate something on some small level, it's not anything that we're going to, on a macro level, be able to experience.
Yeah. Ravi Zacharias once said that even in India, his home country, where holding mutually exclusive worldviews is a way of life, he said, even there, when you cross the street, you still look both ways, because it is either me or it is the bus. It's not both at the same place at the same time. So yes, creating your own worldview, creating your own reality does not work in the macro level.
Absolutely.
So how does quantum physics, in your interpretation then, how does it reinforce the reality as described by the Bible?
Well, when we look at, especially in Hebrews, when it talks about the voice of God, that's a big one. In string theory, quantum physicists will say that basically what particles are made of are these tiny strings that vibrate, and they say they don't know the source of the vibration, just that it has to come from something outside of our dimension, outside of the three spatial dimensions and one of time that we live in. That's about all they'll admit to. But when we take that biblically, especially in the book of Hebrews, what I believe is causing those vibrations is the literal voice of God. And God comes from a place outside of time. So when we think about it that way, even though he may have spoke everything into existence in our past, since he originates from outside of time, it's, from his perspective, it's still going on. His voice of creation is literally holding us and all of reality together. That blows my mind.
That is awesome. And speaking personally, because I have a love for a cappella harmony, specifically, 4-part gospel quartet, barbershop quartet, which I've done for years and years. And the harmony of the human voice working in concert is to me magnificent. But just imagining that the voice of God at this very moment as we speak is still resonating and vibrating and holding all things together is...
There's no words.
There are no words. It is amazing. And as you say, science should be compatible with a Christian worldview, because as Christians, seeking to understand his creation more deeply is what drove scientific research for hundreds of years.
Absolutely.
Until the time of the Renaissance, and we now look at this as somehow proof that there is no God.
Yeah.
be encouraged. There is help on the horizon, and that is in the form of this book, Reclaiming Science from the Godless. Quantum Creation. Josh Peck, he'll be a guest on a future episode of Skywatch TV. Keep watching. I'm Derek Gilbert.